We are live. Let me get my music. Hold on. We are back. I have to start with a little dance to get us ready. Hey everybody. Uh-oh. I've been really working on my moves in this handography. You see it? Oh, I done brought it this way.
Calm it down.
No, hey, come on.
Oh, this is the extended version? Because you
I love it.
Did you
I'm
get jealous?
taking
Hey,
notes so I can move
everybody,
better.
and welcome to Just a Little More. We are back. Woo, woo, woo. We
Woo.
are so excited to be back in your faces, talking about some good stuff. I have some of the troop back, and other people of the troop will be joining in, and new faces are joining the group. Here at Just a Little Bit More, we're dedicated to getting just a little bit more information. We love to get a little bit of tea, and we always like to end it with a whole lot of love. I have missed y'all. I have missed everybody. Alexis, we are ready. Thank you. Please add your comments. Please add your comments, your questions. We are so excited to have you, Alexis, as well. Please add them. I put them on the screen. And if you could you share it to everybody your cousin, them, your mama, them, sister, them, share it out, because I think this is going to be a good conversation tonight, and I just really want you to be a part of the fun. But before we get into it, I want to introduce, everybody knows Gary. Everybody say, hey, Gary. But we have a new face, my new friend. We're in seminary together. I call him TC. TC, introduce yourself. Just give people a little bit about yourself and your favorite snack. And then, Gary, I want to hear your favorite snack too.
Oh, wow. Favorite snack. Well, hello, everybody. I am so excited to join tonight. Well, my name is Taquavius Chandler. I'm gonna save this part for the last, but I do graphic work. I just started doing some graphics, so I'm a graphic designer-ish.
Yes.
I'm a father, I'm a husband, um, I'm a son. Those are sentimental things. But I also do pastoral counseling because I'm a pastor. I'm a lead pastor. So I have that perspective. I like to say that to last because people are like, oh, Lord, a pastor on here. But that's my life work. I am a current student at Mercer, and that's how I met the wonderful Jonathan Johnson. And we have become, you said new friends. We're really old friends because this thing goes longer. It goes back longer than the last 7 months, which have been great. But my favorite snack, hopefully that was a good introduction.
Yes, good introduction.
Favorite snack. Oh, man. I need to catch up on some eating.
Yes.
I really do. But favorite snack would have to be, y'all not going to like this, avocado.
I like a little avocado.
snack.
I literally scoop it out with a spoon, though.
So you eat it like it's pudding? Like, do you?
Just like pudding. It's like butter. I'll take some pita chips sometimes and but avocado. Try it. Get you one, Gary, and you'll see it's snack. It's a whole snack.
Gary, it's so good to have you back.
Hey,
Tell
y'all.
us your favorite snack. What you been up to, Gary? You're changing the world. What else have you been up to?
I'm not changing nobody and changing nothing. Same years. I mean, different years, same me. No, I'm messing. I know. Happy New Year, everybody. It's so good to be back. We have missed you, honestly. So it's in this platform, and thank you for just creating the space and forcing it and moving it forward. It feels really good to be back and have these conversations. TC, that's not a snack, a real snack. And Jonathan knows this. Is chips and salsa. That is my favorite thing to eat. Any kind of salsa, any kind of tortilla chip, that is a real snack, not an avocado.
Listen, and I love chips and salsa too, but my new favorite snack is animal crackers and a little pretzel with a little peanut butter inside. Listen, mix it together. It'll change your life. And I don't want any judgment.
Come up with that?
So
How did
It's
you
so
even come
good.
up with that? You was watching TikTok, wasn't you? You've been
Yeah,
watching.
it really was a TikTok thing, and I said, "Oh, let me try it." I am an avid scroller on TikTok. Mama Hunter is watching. Hey, Mama, that's CC Mama. That's CC Mama. So, hey, Mama, good to see you.
Hey,
Thank you for joining
mom.
us. And we have Jermaine. Jermaine, thank you for coming in. Hello.
Hey, Sharp.
All right, so let's dive into it. Please share your comments. We'd love to hear your comments. Please, any questions you may have, please let us know. But before we dive into the juice of the matter, I do want to have a little chit chat. I call this time just a little chit chat because my queen, though true, I'm a big member of the Hive. Beyonce made history. She made history. Her and Viola Davis. Well, Viola Davis made history, and I'm a big fan of her as well. She got her EGOT win. She's an EGOT now. She has an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. That is huge. If you read Viola Davis's bio or her story, it is truly like remarkable how far she has come. And so I am just so moved by that. But also, Beyonce. Oh, can we talk about her? Can we just talk about how amazing she is?
I mean, it's actually kind of incredible that in our lifetime, as we live, we get to see the most decorated Grammy Award winning artist, and it's a Black woman. That is crazy to think about. And the fact that she's not even done,
Yes.
Beyonce still has Grammys to win. And so I think it's beautiful. And it's a testament to just hard work and a community. And I'm just glad that she shined, especially in Black History Month. So I'm really, really happy for her in that.
TC, you're not going to add anything. You're not going to.
I'm a little bit behind in some pop culture. But I grew up listening to some music of hers, but I celebrate everything coming. She's worked really hard. She is like a super performer. I feel as if, I'm not sure if I'm getting in trouble for this, but in line with the Michael Jackson of our day a bit, with just the presence she brings and the hard work that I think she deserves absolutely to be history. She is history. Somebody said, "Come on, the
She is history. She is the moment. She is awesome. My sister is on the first lady. My sister Tracy Wright is on. Hey, sister, we love you. Pastor Leon, we love you. Okay, now let's get into it. This topic is really near and dear to my heart, and I really wanted it to be the first kind of episode because I believe it's something that is impacting the community very strongly. It's impacting us really, really hard. And I want to talk about mental health in the Black community. Tonight, and this also goes to Black women, but right now we have Black men on. This is impacting the entire, I believe, African American community, is mental health in the Black community. And I just wanted to start because I want to show light to the lives that have been taken by suicide, because I am changing my language of committing suicide to their life was taken by suicide, because that is just to commit is a violent act, and sometimes that is suicide is a very big thing, and so changing the narrative to their life was taken by suicide. So just when I found out about it, it was just a lot going on, it was 2021, 2022. When I started seeing the numbers pick up. I think it was first former Miss USA, like Chelsea, I think Kearse. She was the first story that we heard. And, everybody was like, what? And then it was Ian Alexander, Regina King's son. And these are just some big names that, that were heard over the media. And then, of course, this was a local thing to Maryland, Kevin Ward in Hyattsville in Maryland. He committed suicide. And then so recently, Twitch. And when it happened to Twitch, I literally was a little floored, and it hit me so much because, I have went through my battles of just suppression and overcoming a lot. And on the other side of it, that it's something that dealing with mental health issues and dealing with that pain, it's a lot to overcome. And so I really wanted to kind of talk about this topic, get people's feedback and get y'all's feedback about what's going on. What do you think? Why? Let's first start with that. Why do you think the numbers have increased in suicides and just more people having anxiety? What do you think it is?
One thing was said, when we got into this surge of pandemic, a lot of people had to, a lot of things were kind of cut down. We were shut off from a lot of things that I feel as if we found release from. Today in Suffering and Evil, we were talking about an idea of possibly how people release their frustration. You think about, these large gatherings at football games and stuff like that. People are there screaming, and that's a level of pressure or frustration being released. Church, all of these social connections, we're kind of shut down from that, and people had to face themselves. They were closed into reality, and this is not the answer. I think we'll always be kind of baffled over why, because there's the unintelligent things that are said, like she was so pretty, like Miss USA, or he had it going on, or he had a lot going for himself. And I think those are the things that we naturally think, but those are the unintelligent things that comes out of not knowing really why. But I feel that the pandemic, the surge, this had I feel it played a role in, people's well-being. I feel like we began to talk about therapy more in pandemic, because it was being embraced more. It's like we need to talk. We need to have some discussions. Pandemic, definitely.
So what do you think? I think this misconception, do you think the myth, because I've always heard this, that Black folks don't go to therapy, we don't talk about, do you think that myth is still alive and well? Gary, I want you to hit this one. Do you believe that myth is still thriving and alive? Do you think that we're debunking that and stepping past that myth? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't know like the specific statistics on how many Black people have decided to go to therapy. I think that it is an ongoing conversation in Black households and Black communities. And to be honest with you, I think therapy is about access. And that's something we talk about. We tell people all the time to go to therapy, but if I didn't have the kind of insurance I have, there's a certain level of access that I think a lot of, especially in our generation, have, and we're telling people to go, but they don't have it. And so I think that it's a nuanced conversation. Do I think people desire to go to therapy? And of course they do. I don't think no one wants to be necessarily unwell, but I think that we have to, first of all, give access to things like that, make it more accessible to people. And I think that can change the language. There was a time we just didn't have, now we have a little bit more means and things to get it, but I think it's an ongoing conversation. I don't think it's a myth. I think it's a hot topic in families, but I want it to be something more attainable, because I still feel like it's something that people are trying to strive and reach for than they can't necessarily get access to, in my opinion.
Miss Chantal, and that's a great point that you brought up, Gary, because it goes into what Chantal said. I didn't go to therapy until I got real insurance. That is true. I remember when I worked for an organization back on Michigan Night, they didn't give us health care. You know what I'm saying? We worked really hard. We didn't have health care. So therapy was a luxury sometimes. And so you had to pay that out of pocket. And I think that is a real thing when you don't have access to therapy to talk about issues that you might be dealing with. And there are resources out there for people. More and more resources are becoming available, I think, especially after the pandemic, for people who don't have health insurance, who don't have health care. But I know beginning, it was like you had to have good health care to go to therapy. And I think that that's a big thing. Do you think, I know COVID and media, do you think that played a big part in the drastic number of people, dealing with more mental health issues and, suicide and just depression? I can speak for me. I know being in the house, during COVID, I ate so much cake and chips and stuff like that, but also the loop of seeing more and more people pass, and it was like literally I had to take a mental break from it, and I still think I haven't watched the news probably like how I should, because I don't want to hear bad news all the time. And that's what I felt like during COVID. What are y'all thoughts on that?
TC brought up a really good point. We were so used to a culture of being busy. And I say a culture of being distracted, because we always had something to do. It was always something, but we're never taught how to be with ourselves. Like, that's not something we're necessarily taught how to do. And if that was not a skill you had developed before pandemic, then a lot began to rise up during the pandemic.
Yes.
I don't think we knew or had the tools, even the most intelligent of us, if you will. We have the tools to really deal with it if you weren't, because we were so used to having to be on timelines and things like that. So I think that the pandemic had a way of awakening things that were already present and that were already there that we just hadn't yet dealt with. But this is stuff that I feel like would have showed up regardless in another way, in another capacity in our lives. Anyway.
Yeah. And Jonathan, you talk about media and how, you can't escape the message of death and death numbers and tolls. I mean, you're literally being, fed numbers of people that are dying, and the news is already, media is, we can have a whole segment on media and, how it's so skewed and what it feeds us. But I think I agree that this is something that definitely contributed to the feeling, because you have this dark feeling if your source of information about this pandemic that we've never been in before is coming from mostly from media. We don't search for facts, we don't dig for facts, we get what we take what we get, and then we digest that, and that's it.
And if you look at, as TC brought up, if you look at public, when things like this happen, like to Kevin Ward or to Miss USA, or these are public people. And so the first thing that we always say is, oh, we just didn't think anything was wrong. But it's attached to what they have and not what's going on in here. And there's so much that we as a people attach to what people have externally instead of what they have really going on here. That was the like overwhelming thing. And it's like, well, no, there's other stuff going on in people's lives than just because they have money or wealth. But it's been interesting to watch the public consumption, because they're public people, so it just hits a bit different. But there are people that struggle with what Twitch dealt with or what these people dealt with, every day, I think.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing that that I've realized that, and I can only speak for Black men, that I can speak for Black men, probably Black women. It's just another layer of pressure being Black in America. I just believe that, and I think having on top of just trying to survive like a pandemic and just life, it's just another level of pressure. And I think that we have always been forced to be strong, be a strong Black man, be a strong Black woman. And I think that myth has to stop, or that literally that pressure needs to be taken off. I think that strength is sometimes being weak and being vulnerable and saying, listen, I ain't got it today. I want to cry. I want to be a weak Black woman. I think what's her name? I forget her name, Molly and Insecure. She did a joke on her comedy, so she was like, can I just be a weak Black woman? Like, can I just be not a vulnerable Black woman? Like, why do we always say strong Black woman, strong Black man? And I think that pressure added on, I think, can play a part into being, into mental health issues, depressions, and all of those things. But what do you guys think what are the ways that we can support and things that you think can be done to support people that you may know or people that you may see who are dealing with mental health issues? What are ways that you feel you can support? I know one thing I ain't gonna do is tell them to pray it away and just pray. Oh, just pray. No, because sometimes you still gonna pray and still be depressed. So I need to give you a balance. You know what I'm saying? So that's one big thing. What are some more things that you are going to do to help people, or things that you think we should be doing?
As you say, we're not just going to say just pray, right?
Yeah.
It's a part of a release for sure. But the point that I was going to bring in here is coming from the Black church perspective, right? As a Black pastor in the Black church, and we're talking about Black people, specifically tonight, Black men committing suicide. I think the Black church has a responsibility, and the responsibility of the Black church is to help to silence the stigma and to create conversations and give room for mental health. And, it has been so long. Why do you need to go and talk with somebody else when you can just have a little talk with Jesus? Well, most of us don't talk to Jesus right. We don't know what Jesus said back, and so I think there is and not to take away from the spirituality of our lives, but there's a practical.
Yeah.
There's practical approaches. And I have a friend that has a T-shirt, and he has a whole line, and it's deliverance and therapy. I love that because, you know, I'm not going to give a Bible study lesson on the forum tonight, but you know, there is an instance where we even, you know, from a church perspective, you know, when something leaves us, something is cast away from us, what do we replace it with? Anytime
Yeah.
something is removed, I feel like something has to be replaced, and sometimes the deliverance of spirituality has to be followed up with the practical. What are we going to do instead? What's next? You know, I've cried, I lift my hands, and I feel better in the moment because I'm in the liberated atmosphere. But what's next? What happens at 12 a.m. on Tuesday
Yeah.
nights? What happens when I get a trigger of a phone call or a text message that just triggered and brought up these emotions all over again? So I think we have to do a better job at telling people what's next.
That's good. That's
That is
good.
really good. I think, and I say this about a lot of different things. We talk about what can be done or what can be, you know, your first commitment is to yourself. And so I think before we can talk about what others can or need to do, you know, be responsible for your own mental health first. Be taking charge and going to therapy yourself. And then I always say, whatever you're working on, you can impact your immediate nucleus. So
Yeah.
whatever I'm working on, whatever kind of space I'm creating for myself, create that same space for the people in your life. Create that same space for the people in your family. We don't have to go outside of our immediate nucleus to know that there are people that are struggling and dealing with things. I always say with stuff like this, deal with you first, and then
Yeah.
whatever you can touch and whatever you can see, because I realize a lot of times we try to detach from this stuff that's actually going on. But since you and I talk about this all the time, we know people that are dealing. We ourselves are dealing, but we created a space with each other where we
Yeah.
can fall, fumble, and things of that nature. So I think that's, if you don't have to have the most money, but you can start like investing in yourself and then start investing in your immediate nucleus and community. And I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, so wise. That's good. That's good. And I love what Alexis put. She said, create an awkward free zone. It's okay to just
Mm-hmm.
be low. And
Yeah.
I believe that that is so true. I know one of the ways that, because this is kind of tying to the last closing vote on the moment of just like ways to stay encouraged, you know, just through life and just ways to stay uplifted. But I love the moment where you said from both of y'all, I just think that it's really the therapy after the good feel good moments, whatever it may be, and then also being responsible for my own work. I think those are big parts of it. But I also believe in making sure that you celebrate the good moments and the
Yeah.
wins. My sister-in-law said this, and I believe I live by it. She says sometimes you just got to get through the second, because if you can get through the second, you can get through the minute. And if you get through the minute, you can get through the hour. Because sometimes life can be so hard that you only feel like you can get through the second. But I believe that if you get through the second, you can get through the minute, the hour, the day, you can get through it. But you just have to breathe through it. Take your time, give yourself grace, and celebrate the wins. Celebrate that you had a really great day. And it may have been one, but celebrate this was a really great one day. Just I think that those are just paramount during that time. What is the lasting thought that you want to leave with people who might be, you know, having questions about going to therapy or having questions of just about, you know, things, how to, you know, those self-care questions? What would be a lasting thing that you would leave to them?
You know, one of the things I kind of just glance is silencing the stigma. I feel like there's still such a stigma on what therapy is. It's not for crazy people, right? It's
Yes.
not for us when we, you know, it's because I feel like we don't feel that we should need mental health and even health in general, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not Black community health overall. But you know, creating space for yourself. Gary said something that made me think about the instructions on that the flight attendant tells you. Put your mask on first.
Yes.
Put your mask on first. So make sure that you ask yourself the question, you know, what is my self-care routine? You know, start there. Start checking in on yourself. Have a, what's my mental health like? Reach out to a friend, connect with community and get connected to a therapist. And the last thing is you don't need a therapist when something's wrong only. I can feel great and still have a therapeutic connection and release. So check on yourself, get connected with community, and find a therapist.
That's good.
Yeah, mine is you need a good friend first. I think you need a good friend first to show you the possibilities of therapy, because I know friendships have shifted my ideas on how powerful therapy can be. And I don't think we have good enough friends, honestly, to show us the impact on what sitting and having a discussion with someone is about. So I would say if you've been blessed enough to have a good friend that you can sit and talk to them, and then go and find you a good therapist, because I really do feel like a good friend, especially a wise good friend, is gonna shift that energy in a way and lead you in the right direction. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, Wes. This is good. This is some good talking. Y'all, I thank you so much for joining the conversation tonight. And Chantal, please celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate the things that you have done and that you've accomplished, and you've done well. You deserve it. Everybody deserves it. And it's one of the things I do every morning. I'd be like, I woke up. That's a win. Huh? I made good coffee, whatever. It can be small, it can be big. Celebrate your wins. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will not be here next Tuesday because it's Valentine's Day. Go be with a boo, hug somebody, but more importantly, go be with yourself. Take yourself out to eat if you can't find no boo. Love you, and celebrate you, and get you something good to eat. Some chicken is always good. And have a good time. But every Tuesday at 6:30, we will be here for just a little more. We'll have more new friends. We'll have some of our old friends. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. Bye, y'all. Share this out, too. Bye.